Good afternoon, everybody. I am Agent Kenai 47, also known by my other code name, Wolfkeen, and welcome to another edition of A Wolf's Word. Now, today on A Wolf's Word, I'm going to be talking about a game where we return to the world of assassination and contract killing. A game where we reprise our role as the most dangerous man alive and the best assassin in the world. I am, of course, talking about Hitman Absolution. Now, there's a lot I could say about Hitman Absolution. I got this for Christmas as a gift, and I'm a big Hitman fan. I was originally going to buy this on release day, but finances came around and I had to hold back. But now is my chance to finally talk about Hitman Absolution. And me being a big Hitman fan, I know, I'm a huge Hitman fan, but no worries, guys. This review will be kept subjective. Sorry. This review will be kept subjective, and I will not let my faniness get in the way of reviewing the game. I promise you that. So, now let's talk about it. The story. What is the story of Hitman Absolution? In Hitman Absolution, we reprise our role as Agent 47, a hitman working for the agency. Basically, 47 has gotten this job from the agency to kill his former handler, Diana Burnwood. Apparently, Diana basically brought the agency to its knees by liquidating their contacts and actually exposing them to public. You know, kind of like, in different ways. So Diana left the agency. While in the confusion of all this, Diana also took a girl named Victoria, who was supposedly going to be the next best assassin, supposed to be the next 47. Diana Burnwood decided to prevent this by, of course, liquefying the agency and exposing them. So within the confusion, Diana Burnwood escaped with Victoria. Now, the agency has been reformed, and Agent 47 has been offered the contract to kill Diana Burnwood. When you're about to fulfill this contract, you learn from Diana that Victoria was supposed to be the next best assassin. Basically go through the same kind of procedure 47 did, which, if you've played previous Hitman games or seen the movie, which, the movie's not that bad. If you've seen them, you would know what happens to people who do become assassins, well, hitmen. So as a final request to Diana, 47 decides to protect this girl, Victoria, from the agency. So he leaves the agency and is now trying to not only protect this girl, Victoria, from the agency, but also trying to protect her from this other guy who wants to capture her, Blake Dexter. So that's your job as Agent 47. You still go through, you still have to kill people to prevent people from getting close to Victoria, but you're not exactly going on any contract kills. That's to be honest. You're not actually going on any contract kills. You're just killing people who are in the way of, basically people who could discover you or Victoria. You're just getting rid of people like loose ends. Now, I know what a lot of people say about Hitman Absolution, that it's story-based. I'm going to be brutally honest. Hitman games have never been story-based that much. The reason why I said that much is because if you don't remember, Hitman 2 Silent Assassin was also a story-based Hitman. In Hitman 2 Silent Assassin, 47 is trying to repent for what he's done as a hitman. Basically becoming working for a priest as a gardener, in a sense. Well, yeah, he is working as a gardener. He's working for a priest as a gardener, trying to atone for his sins, basically. Unfortunately, there's this group of people that want 47 to be a hitman again and capture the priest, forcing 47 to come back as a hitman, but he uses the agency to help him discover who took him. So yeah, Hitman 2 is story-based as well. So this one being story-based is not a bad thing. As a matter of fact, the story to this game isn't too bad, and it isn't too hard to understand. So, story-wise, it's not terrible, but wait a minute, why am I saying it's not terrible? Actually, the story isn't that bad. I mean, granted, I don't really care too much about story in a Hitman game, but it ain't bad. So now let's talk about some of the gameplay aspects. Okay, so let me talk about graphics real quick. We all know that the Hitman series has been running on the Glacier engine, which I have to admit, it was a bit ahead of its time. If you played Hitman 2, Hitman Codename 47, and Hitman Contracts, you would know the Glacier 1 engine is probably one of the best looking engines for its time. I mean, look at Blood Money. Blood Money looks freaking gorgeous. And even if you have the PS2 version, it still looks amazing. So now we have the Glacier 2 engine, and wow, does it look beautiful. The game has so much detail to it, and there's a lot of detail to it. From raindrops falling on 47, you actually see sweat coming from him, you see blood on him, you actually see the detail in the characters, the facial details, like wrinkles, moles, and other stuff like that. The environment graphics look freaking beautiful, especially some of the early levels like Chicago, when you're escaping the police. The Chicago level has some of the best graphics that, well, is one of the best visuals, along with other levels. All the levels are really well designed and have great visuals, which is a good thing to see in a Hitman game. Because let's face it, in a Hitman game, you're not going to be rushing to kill your target. You're not going to pull out the silver ballers, just run all over the place. No, you have to take your time. And while you're taking your time, you're going to be enjoying the environment. The attention to detail is actually pretty good in this game. And this is where it's going to lead to the gameplay. But the attention to detail is good. Characters have great attention to detail. The graphics look great. Now let's talk about the character detail. Do you know how good the character detail looks? Besides graphics, their voiceovers have a lot of work done with it. In previous Hitman games, characters would always get into conversations, and they always felt real. They weren't like, like games where you would see like a conversation going on and you just didn't care. When you heard these conversations, you were like actually listening to it and actually getting involved in the conversation in a sense. As a matter of fact, one of the best conversation pieces was the demo for Hitman Absolution, where you're basically on the windowsill and you hear a guy going like, "What? I don't have cancer?" And he's actually going crazy like, "Yeah, I don't have cancer." Da, 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 da. But then you have to kill him anyways by pulling him out the window. That's what I mean. The voiceovers in the game for both NPCs and the main character casts is freaking awesome. One of the best voiceovers is definitely Blake Dexter. If you know who Blake Dexter is, you know for a fact that he has a really good voiceover. He is this very sophisticated, in a sense, person with a lot of money and a lot of personality. I mean, seriously, the very first time 47 tries to go after Blake Dexter, his caricature and his voiceover is freaking awesome to listen to. All the characters have great voiceovers. Even the NPCs have good voiceovers. It always feels real when they get into a conversation. And it's fun to listen to and interrupt. So, I gotta give them points for the attention to detail to this game. They went above and beyond the Call of Duty for the attention to detail. So let's see. The story isn't bad. The attention to detail is freaking awesome. What about the gameplay? Well, I'm happy to announce that the gameplay, while changed a little bit, is actually still pretty good. Here's the thing. In Hitman Absolution, they decided to break up the large levels with some bite-sized chunks. So there'll be like checkpoint areas where you'll enter this area, then you'll enter this area, and then you'll enter this area as like one level. So a good example of this is the Chicago level. First, you'll go to the let me see. First, you'll head to the hotel. First, you'll head to the bottom floors of the hotel. Then you'll head to the upper floors of the hotel. Then you'll head to the main room. In the later level, the Chicago level, you'll head to the roof. You'll head to another building. You'll head to another building. Like, they break up the bite-sized, they break up the large sandbox world with some bite-sized chunks. Admittedly, this is a little disappointing to see that they did that, because in previous Hitman games, when you were in the large world, it felt very liberating to be in this large world, but again, very intimidating, because you really didn't want to do anything stupid, because in previous Hitman games, when you did something stupid, every person would be on your ass. In this game, you do something stupid, you can just get away and then head to the next section, and they don't know you're around. As a matter of fact, the guards in the next area don't even know about you. This could be a bit disappointing to many of the Hitman die-hard fans, and I can understand this, me being a Hitman fan. So, the bite-sized chunks of the levels are good to an extent, but to hardcore Hitman fans, I know they're going to be a little upset about this. And here's one other thing about the gameplay. We all remember in previous Hitman games that you could save anywhere you want, correct? Well, in this Hitman, they decided to try their hand at a checkpoint system, and unfortunately, they botched this royally. The reason why I said they messed this up is because the checkpoint system is pretty much most to all of the time always off the beaten path, and if you die or restart, which is going to happen frequently, all the people that you've knocked out, killed, put into bins, all of a sudden they're alive and well. I hate that because now it feels like experimentation is going to be shunned upon because you're going to kill a bunch of people, have to restart, and then, uh-oh, everybody's back alive because you restarted from the last checkpoint. I hate that. I mean, it doesn't work, especially when you're going after contracts, like when you're going after your targets. This can be very, very, well, it's going to be infuriating at times. I can openly admit that. So this checkpoint system was horrible. Another thing that I hate is the disguise system. As we know, in Hitman games, you're supposed to basically change disguises to help you blend into the environment around you. So basically, like in Hitman contracts, you would take like a gang outfit and you would look like one of the gang members while at the same time being able to sneak around. I don't know why I didn't button this earlier on, but I don't care. But that's the thing. In previous Hitman games, when you got into a disguise, they would not notice who you are unless you got too close. Like they saw you face to face, they would start noticing who you are until they finally figure out that you're in a disguise, you're not one of them. In Hitman Absolution, they made it that it seems like every they make it seem like every police officer, plumber, electrician, garbage man know each other by heart, and that's bullcrap on a silver platter. I mean, think about it. Does every single cop know each other? Like, really? Like, seriously, does this cop know the rookie? Does this cop know this guy, even though they work from 2 different districts? That's what I hate about Hitman Absolution. Like, their disguise system is balls. I really wish that they just go back to the old disguise system, where you put on a disguise, they don't notice who you are unless you got too close. Basically, when you are wearing a disguise, you don't get spotted as easily, but the closer you are, the more they'll notice you. But nevertheless, the bar fills up, which is basically like an arrow showing you who's noticing you. And if they notice you, your disguise will be suspicious, and if they see your face, your disguise will be blown. Honestly, they need to fix this because I think it's bullcrap how you could be wearing a full face mask, a full ski mask like this, not see my face, and yet they're able to tell I'm not one of them, even though they can't see my face. In previous Hitman games, like Hitman Contracts, when you were wearing a SWAT outfit, it worked like that you were covered, and they couldn't tell who you were unless you acted suspicious. In this game, you're in a full mask, and yet they can still notice that you're not one of them, even though they can't see your face, they can't see nothing about you, which I think is total bullcrap. Do you get what I mean? I really wish they gotta fix their disguise system. Now, what else can I talk about the gameplay? I'm gonna say this. Yeah, the levels have been broken up into bite-sized chunks, but the way you complete your level is completely up to you. Do you try to be stealthy? Do you try to create distractions? Do you try to just gun your way through? It's all up to you how you complete the level. And there are multiple ways to kill your target. I mean, I think some of the earliest target kills that you can probably remember is the King of Chinatown. This is going to be a bit of a spoiler in a sense, but here's the thing. The King of Chinatown can be killed in different ways. Do you make him go to his car after setting his alarm off and then choke him out from in there? Do you kill his drug dealer and dress up like the drug dealer to drag him to bring him to a secluded location? Do you poison something so that he dies from like food poisoning or something like that? Like, there are multiple ways to kill your target, and this is very true for Hitman Absolution. And I love it. There's different ways to kill your target, and not every way is going to be the right way. I mean, It's up to you to figure out how you're going to do it. And this is still very good because some of the ways you kill your targets are both hilarious and fun to accomplish and fun to watch. So I will give them points for at least keeping that. And some devs, you can even make it look like an accident, which is good. They kept the accident system in there. What else do I need to talk about? I talked about the ways you kill your target. Well, I'm gonna talk about another thing. They added a much-needed cover system. Thank you. I know Hitman games, you always had to be awkwardly strafing or sneaking around with your silver ballers. I kind of hated that, to be honest. That you had to lean across the wall with basically your guns like that, and that was your cover system, basically. Now, 47 actually hides behind cover, and you can actually get into a firefight or take out a target while behind cover and maybe not get noticed. I actually did that once. I actually threw a knife at someone from behind cover and they didn't notice me, which is pretty cool. But the thing is, I think the enemy notices you too easily. I remember shooting someone with a sniper rifle and they instantly spotted me somehow. I don't know how they could tell it was me. Maybe they heard the noise or something like that, but I think it's a little weird how you can use a knife, shoot them with a sniper, or shoot them from mad far away, or beat them up, and the enemy can tell it's you that did it. I kind of hate that. I understand if you're nearby when they come around, but if you're not even nearby and you kill the target and they tell it's you, I kind of hate that. And there's one other thing they've added to Hitman Absolution, the Instinct. Instinct is basically the blue vision from Batman Arkham City. Basically, you're allowed to see where your enemy is, their patterns, and also you can use it to cover yourself. So basically, it tries to cover up the bad disguise system. So say you use Instinct and you want to get past a guard without him noticing you. You use Instinct, 47 would probably like tip his hat, like something like that, act like he's on the radio, scratch his head. So this way the guards don't notice him, they just think he's one of them. I understand what they were trying with this, but I just don't like it at times. Cool thing is you can turn off Instinct if you don't want to play with Instinct. And the Instinct works very well. It's showing you hints, which is basically showing you what you can do, showing you some possibilities for some of the missions. And like I said, the Instinct can work to its advantage. One of the things that Instinct works towards is a point-and-shoot mechanic. Think the Deadeye from Red Dead Redemption. You basically pick targets and you basically pick points in the target's body to shoot them. The longer you stay in that mode, the more instinct you waste. So basically, you're going to want to go for vital kills. Besides the few points that you need to use it, you don't really have to use it. But it can be useful in a firefight. So I definitely say the instinct is a cool little change. And I think it was a nice addition to the game. Wow, 18 minutes. Okay. We're nearing the end of this. There is a couple of other things that do irritate me. I don't like the fact that you can't choose your own equipment anymore. Compared to other Hitman games, you can't choose your own guns, your own outfit, and your own equipment. It really feels weird. I don't know why you can't do that. Yeah, I know he's not a part of the agency anymore, but wouldn't there be like a black market or something like that for rogue assassins? I mean, 47 must have more contacts than just the agency for weapons. I am sure of that. There has to be more contacts that he can get to so he can actually get better weapons. Another thing that kind of annoyed me about the game was the hand-to-hand combat. It's all quick-time events. You basically press one button to do like, you basically mash one button to get the hand in the fight, and then you press another one to knock out your opponent. I hate that. I kind of liked it better like in Blood Money. In Blood Money, you press one button, 47 do like a headbutt, and then start punching them or push them around. Like, that was where Blood Money was good at. Blood Money worked because its hand-to-hand was actually pretty intuitive. And you can actually rob people of their weapons. That's what I mean. In Blood Money, you can actually take their weapons and use it against them. In this game, you can't do that unless you kill them, which is kind of stupid if you ask me. But there is a couple of other things I need to say about Hitman Absolution. For one, the difficulty system's actually not that bad. Like the hints, remember when I said you'll find hints with Instinct? Well, on easy difficulty, it points out most of these routes of the enemies and how they work. In normal difficulty, they don't really give you as much hints with the Instinct. And you're going to have to use rational thinking and actual knowledge. Like, it stays in the basis of the real world. But there's higher difficulties than that. There's hard, expert, and the most hardest difficulty in Hitman Absolution, purist. In purest difficulty, you have basically no instinct, no HUD. There's nothing there. All you have is a reticle. You only have a reticle, and you get no help whatsoever. You can't see your ammo, you can't see your health, you can't see the map, you can't see your enemies, and you can't see all this other stuff. And that's another thing I'm kind of upset about with Hitman Absolution. No manual map. I kind of liked it better that you can actually look at the map and see where all the enemies were and see where you're going. That worked. I kind of hate like the mini thing right there because I can't see where doors are, walls are, or anything like that. It worked better in Hitman Contracts and Blood Money where you can actually look at your map. Now, I can stop talking about the game right here because that's pretty much all there is to Hitman Absolution. But no, that isn't all there is to Hitman Absolution. There's actually another mode to Hitman Absolution called the Contracts mode. Sorry, ignore the phone. Hitman Contracts is basically a mode which is basically like a metagame. Basically, players around the world make their own contracts based on the levels that you've played. And you can make your own contracts. You can even start competitions with your friend. Like, say you did this contract in a certain way, and you tell your friend, oh, I want you to try this, but try to do it faster and better than me as a competition. Basically, this metagame is actually pretty addicting, and you can actually get a few more hours out of the game. And it's actually pretty fun. Like, you can make your own contracts. I actually made my own contract where you're basically in a samurai outfit just slashing people with samurai swords. None of my friends have been able to beat it, which is kind of satisfying that I can make a contract and I just look at it. Yeah, suffer, you assholes. Suffer. So, it's actually pretty cool that you can make your own contracts. And this can actually add way more hours to the game. And unlike the story, you can actually choose your own equipment. So, thumbs up. Now, I know what people are going to ask me. How long is Hitman Absolution? Well, I'm going to be honest. I beat the game in about 10 to 12 hours. But that's because I'm a Hitman fan. I know how Hitman games work. And compared to other Hitman games, this one is a lot easier compared to the other Hitman. So I beat the game in about 10 to 12 hours. But I'm pretty sure if you've never played a Hitman game and you try this one, this game's going to take you about 16 hours to beat. Which is a lengthy campaign. And remember, there are multiple ways to achieve your job. So you could try the mission one way and then try a totally different way and do even better because you know what you're doing. You know the enemy's routes. You know what your target's going to be doing. So every level is highly replayable and that's something I love. So kudos to Square Enix and IO Interactive. Kudos to them for making this game. Thank you for bringing back Hitman. I am so happy to see Hitman return. In the back of the cover it says it. Execution is everything. And that's exactly what this game has. Execution. To Hitman loyalists, I know this game is not going to be the granddaddy of Hitman games. I mean, it's not as good as Blood Money. But it's still a good entry. I recommend picking this up if you're a Hitman loyalist or if you want to get into the Hitman series. This is a great start for new players. If you're a Hitman loyalist, you could just, pick it up. I definitely say pick it up if you're a Hitman loyalist. If you're new, definitely pick this up because it's a great start to the series. Play this and then you can buy the HD collection coming out soon. So, all in all, Hitman Absolution. It's a good game. A little bit of a disappointment considering, but it's still a good game. I'm going to give Hitman Absolution an 8 out of 10. I know what a lot of people are going to probably say that it only deserves a 7 or a 6. That may be so for maybe the Hitman loyalist, but I'm talking more about the casual gamer, like someone who probably does not play Hitman all the time. If you're a Hitman loyalist, then yeah, the score drops a little bit because it doesn't have everything you were looking for. But if you're new to the Hitman series or have casually played Hitman, this game is a great investment. You're going to have a lot of fun with it. The characters are fun to listen to. The gameplay is very engaging. The contracts mode will keep you going for hours on end. And the story is definitely not that bad. And it's fun to watch. Especially trying to figure out the different ways to kill your target. So there you go, guys. Hitman Absolution, an 8 out of 10. So, until next time, I'm Keen47, aka Wolfkeen. Remember to like, favorite, and comment on this video. I will see you all next time for another edition of A Wolf's Word. where you get the word straight from the wolf's mouth. Take care.